So in this video, we're going to be looking at some more advanced features in the tech stack. Essentially, we're going to be diving into Markdown and maybe a few other more advanced text options with swatches. So here we are. This is Markdown, right? This is the default Markdown that we have inside the tech stack. What I can do is I'm actually going to use this text and edit it inside my text editor so that we get and concentrate a little bit more on the Markdown syntax. So here we have the default Markdown that I just copied and pasted from Rapidweaver. And this editor just makes it a little bit nicer for us to view and edit things. So first off is headers at the very top. If you'll notice, this is an H3. And how do I know that? Well, essentially, we can count the number of hashtags that a header has. So in HTML, we have H1 all the way up through H6. So if I add one hashtag, that gives me an H1. If I add two, that's an H2, all the way up to 6 of them, which gives me an H6. Okay, so that gives me a header 6 tag. So headers are really simple, okay? Now, one thing to note is you should have a space after your hashtag, and it's probably best to also keep a new line after your header. As a general rule with Markdown, you probably just want to have a lot of white space. So extra new lines is okay. And text, well, that's just text, right? So here, this is just a simple line, but if I wanted to add like an entire paragraph of text, I could do that as well, right? And this will be a paragraph. And you can have as many paragraphs as you want. And just like the header, you want to make sure you have an empty line below it before you start new content. So if I wanted to do 2 paragraphs, essentially see how I'd want to have an empty line between each paragraph. That is important. Bullet lists are really simple, okay? And they're as simple as you see here. They're just asterisks. So you just do asterisk, space, and then your text. And then a new line, asterisk, space, and your text. Now, if I were to have an empty line in between these two lists, I would essentially have 2 bullet lists on my page. So if you want one continuous bullet lists, you do not want to have gaps in between your lines. Now, to do a numbered list, it's really simple. You just do 1 space. This is a numbered list. Now, you could hit enter and then do 2, and then so on and so forth, right? However, Markdown is actually pretty clever. And what you can do is you can just type all of them as any number you want, and it will, when it's generated into HTML, it'll actually display as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever, right? Why is this cool? Well, have you ever created Markdown or a list and you're like, you know what? I want this bullet list to be number 2 now. Well, if it required that you actually had all the numbers correct, it would be tough because then you'd have to go and renumber everything. But if you just make them any random number, normally I just do the number 1, okay? This actually generates proper HTML and allows you to be able to change the numbered list. But, you know, sometimes we really like to see our stuff. So you can go ahead and number all of this, and that will work, okay? But it is up to you. If you just want to use number 1s for everything, you can do that as well. Okay, so what are some of the other kind of trickier formats that we can do? First off, let's look at bold, okay? If we look right here, this is a piece of bold text. So like if I wanted to make this word simple inside my paragraph bold, I just put 2 asterisks around it. And now I have bold text. And if I wanted to make the word fast italic, all I need to do is do 1 asterisk around each. So 2 asterisks is bold, 1 asterisk means italic. Now the next bit is probably a little bit more confusing, and that is links. Let's look at this link syntax right here. If you notice, we have square brackets around the word text stacks, and then we have parentheses around a URL. So what this does is it takes the word stacks and it makes a link out of it. And it links to yourhead.com/stacks. Let's go ahead and create a link. Okay, let's go ahead and make this Markdown we're going to link that to Weaver Space. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put square brackets around, and I'm going to put parentheses. And inside the parentheses, I'm going to put in my URL, https://www.weavers.space. And that's all we have to do. Okay, so that's probably the trickiest syntax here, is this link syntax. Now, as we'll see inside Stacks, there actually is a little link tool that will kind of do this syntax for you. It's not rocket science, but this probably is the trickiest part here, is creating links. Now, a common request that I get is, Joe, how can we open links in a new window? Well, this is a special feature in Foundation 6 only, okay? But if inside this link text, if you do inside quotes _blank, okay, what this will do is this will now open the link in a new window. Again, this is not a Markdown specific feature. This is a feature that I've added directly into Foundation for us. So if you do this, this will open the link in a new window. So now that you got the basics of Markdown down, you should be going at it like a champ. Okay, let's give you a quick preview of what that link tool is. So here inside the Markdown, if you just click this little link tool, as you see, it kind of puts the syntax in there for you. And it's nice in that it actually puts in the HTTPS, and then at that point, you can just type in your web address, right? And it puts in the word linked text as well.